I will be there for the first battle, and with me, victory is assured. This is the bold declaration made by a Chinese mercenary before heading to the Russian battlefield. A mercenary named Sun Ruiqi, who is from Heilongjiang, is an older individual who claims his work requires confidentiality and cannot disclose details. Recently, he posted a plea for help, asking the embassy and netizens to assist him in terminating his contract and returning to China. In a widely circulated video, Sun stands at the front of a military formation of dozens of soldiers, seemingly an officer, confidently shouting commands. "Everyone, listen to my orders. Comrades, hello, and thank you for your hard work. In the first battle, I will be there, and with me, we will surely win." Another scene shows a large number of soldiers with backpacks gathered, waiting, with military buses parked nearby. Sun says to the camera, "We're setting off. The main force is moving out." The next shot shows Sun looking dejected and desperate, his pre-battle confidence gone. He now says, "I just posted a plea for help. The battlefield didn't knock me down, but illness has. I am now suffering from a severe heart attack and angina, along with a severe cold that has caused my throat to become completely ulcerated, and my joints are in great pain. There are no medical facilities here. The doctors can only provide the simplest prescriptions and electrocardiograms, and they tell me I have no problems. I said I wanted to withdraw healthily. It took me nearly 40 minutes of walking in heavy snow to get a signal to send out a message. I contacted the Chinese embassy in Russia, but they said it's a personal matter and they won't intervene. I now ask all Chinese friends to help me contact the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I need to terminate my contract and return home to recuperate. I can hardly take care of myself here. There are no medical facilities, and I will die here in agony. I've been in this condition for a week now." Another mercenary named Zhou Zhiqiang from Guangdong, born in 1991, has a 3-year-old daughter. He has been to the battlefield twice. The first time he was slightly injured, the second time more seriously. According to him, the rewards for his injuries were just notifications, essentially IOUs. He is currently recovering from his injuries. The Russian army finishes fighting and goes off duty, leaving us mercenaries to stay behind in peril. Luckily, I wore thick clothes, but even they were blown full of holes. The Russian army sends people to the hospital, but leaves us here. Mercenary Li Dafu is described by some as a technical soldier, and by others as an instructor. He says he performs special missions and cannot disclose details. He repeatedly emphasizes that he is part of an international legion, not a mercenary, and seems optimistic with no regrets. He says, "Distant gunshots and explosions are constantly heard. The conditions here are very limited. Sometimes I can't even edit my videos and just upload them directly whenever there's a signal. Currently, I'm on a mountain with no signal and sometimes no electricity. Charging devices here is very difficult. Everyone's phones have been confiscated except mine because I don't understand Russian. I'm telling everyone, don't come here. Here, a person's death is as insignificant as a chicken's. If you get killed, it's simply attributed to the Ukrainian army. It's that simple. Don't come here, it's very grueling, and most people can't endure this kind of suffering. If you're here, don't think about anything else but how to stay alive. It's just that simple." Online commentators have also remarked on Chinese soldiers. When has Russia ever treated Chinese people as human? Look at history. When has Russia ever been friendly to the Chinese people? China doesn't treat you as human either. Otherwise, there wouldn't be the ice sculpture infantry. This refers to the Battle of Changjin Lake, where mercenaries tragically froze to death to fend off the US during the Korean War. Are there still Chinese mercenaries? Why not do something else? How many rubles can you earn from this? The CCP will silence you, and the Patriots will call you a spy and a traitor for stirring up Sino-Russian relations. People must pay for their perceptions. Who in their right mind will be a henchman for invaders and be cannon fodder? Even if you are a mercenary, they're basically buying your life. Did you think they sent you on to be a strategist? Many Chinese are recruited as Russian mercenaries because of the advertisements from the Russian Wagner Group. Even after Wagner was incorporated into the Russian Ministry of Defense, it continued to recruit mercenaries with a monthly salary of 240,000 rubles, which is about $2,365 US for a 6-month contract. In comparison, the Russian regular army's monthly salary is only 70,000 to 100,000 rubles. Additionally, each Ukrainian soldier killed earns a 10,000 US dollar reward, and severe injuries earn $30,000. Foreign mercenaries' families receive a pension of 5 million rubles, about 60,000 US dollars, while Russian soldiers' families get a Lada car, a fur coat, or 4 salted fish. It is claimed that 500 to 800 people join daily, including 30,000 prisoner soldiers. Foreign mercenaries can obtain Russian citizenship upon signing the contract, enjoying the same treatment as Russians. The Wagner Group's profits from war come from selling natural resources in Africa and the Middle East, earning 250 million US dollars annually, ensuring high salaries. After registering, this Chinese commentator received a text message on June 6, 2024. You have been enlisted as a Russian government mercenary. Please bring your ID to Guangzhou Baiyun Airport at 16:30 on June 7, 2024 to board the flight. A Russian official will coordinate your transfer to Ukraine for combat. Salary 20,000 US dollars. Russia welcomes you, and we hope the war ends soon. It seems enticing, but it's a death trap. A blogger with the ID Rabbit in Bear's Den went to Russia as a mercenary and shared a video detailing his military experience and the harsh truths. The video is titled, "Going to Russia for Money or to Protect Russia Both Come with a Heavy Price," criticizing other bloggers in Russia for luring Chinese people into the military. He advises people not to trust online scammers, pointing out that the monthly salary is less than 250,000 rubles. In another video, he describes the Russian military's reward system while walking through a forest devastated by war. Many people think joining the Russian army is a surefire way to win, dreaming of marrying a Ukrainian woman and returning as a hero. They don't realize that politically marginalized individuals often overestimate their capabilities in war, ending up as mere cannon fodder. Mercenary Li Jianwei shared, "Let me tell you, the casualty rate over there is high. Once you enter the battlefield, it's basically just 8 to 10 hours until you're dead. It's very quick. The fighting has been going on for at least a month, and the rooms are filled with bodies. It doesn't smell like decaying bodies, but rather smells like smoked meat. People who fight here are very strong and eat high-calorie food, so they're fat and there's oil dripping out. Some people's skulls are exposed. Basically, every basement has dead bodies. Both sides have casualties. All 4 people who came back with me are injured. The building near me exploded, and then half of my body was hit. My left arm was pierced by shrapnel, which I only discovered while bathing. Street battle is brutal, nothing like I imagined." On the battlefield, amidst the Russia-Ukraine war, there are more drones than birds. Ukrainian forces are ahead, Russian forces behind, making both directions deadly. Ukraine uses modern high-tech weapons, with a single drone chip capable of killing an entire platoon. The Russian army's human wave tactic reduced a 40-man unit to just 8 survivors. The survival rate is extremely low. They were merely filling trenches and becoming cannon fodder on the battlefield. These Chinese mercenaries may not understand Chinese history or consider how Russia bullied China in the past. Russia was part of the 8-nation alliance that invaded China. Now, they've been brainwashed into believing that fighting against the US and NATO is a mission to uphold global justice, or they are driven by the prospect of financial gain. They mistakenly view war as a video game, where money appears just after a few clicks. Reportedly, Chinese mercenaries on the Russia-Ukraine front lines are enduring extreme conditions after 6 days and nights of continuous fighting. They face severe food and water shortages, resorting to drinking urine when thirsty and using morphine for pain relief. Some media have likened Russian soldiers to zombie troops due to these harsh conditions. Foreign media speculate that Wagner leader Prigozhin, known for his interest in poisons, might have been administering drugs to his soldiers. According to the UK's Daily Mail, Ukrainian soldiers describe Putin's Wagner recruits as zombies, filled with drugs, enabling them to fight for hours, even when bleeding from machine gun fire. In 2022, Liu Yuguang, the chief war correspondent for Phoenix Television and the mouthpiece for the Chinese Communist Party on the Russia-Ukraine battlefield, was caught on camera wetting his pants in fear of gunfire. He was only revived after being splashed with cold water by soldiers. He also posted a video on Douyin, allegedly using footage from a Canadian YouTuber's car modification video, falsely claiming it is debris from the Ukrainian HIMARS destroyed by the Russian army. After online commentators exposed the truth, they demanded an explanation from Liu Yuguang. Comments indicate that Liu's statements reflected the CCP's pro-Russia stance. Following the exposure of his fabrications, it is suspected that the CCP officials forced him to shut down his Weibo account to distance themselves from the scandal. What is the Wagner Group? By international standards, it is a transnational criminal organization or terrorist group. Some say it's Putin's private military company. There's a Chinese saying that goes, "Under heavy rewards, brave men will come." Many are willing to fight and kill for the right price. Chinese should be wary of enticing ads. Behind them lies battlefield slaughter. The situation of Chinese mercenaries in Russia is dire, with low survival rates and monthly salaries and injury compensation. In simple terms, mercenaries are hired by private military companies. Their advantage is that with enough money, you can get a group of soldiers of varying quality to perform tasks without spending time and cost on training or using your own troops. If things go wrong, it's easier to distance yourself. The downside is that these people might turn against you if someone else offers more, and they can easily instigate war crimes, damaging your reputation. However, outsourcing tasks like patrols to private military companies is somewhat attractive to regular armies because it simplifies matters. If regular soldiers are injured or killed, the government must compensate and comfort families and handle possible anti-war protests. If mercenaries die, many problems are avoided since they are voluntarily on the battlefield for money. The death toll in war is a fact that Putin has never publicly acknowledged. On April 5, 2023, a BBC investigation with Russian independent media Mediazona found that over 50,000 identified Russian soldiers had died in Ukraine since the full-scale war began. This study only includes confirmed deaths, so the actual number is almost certainly higher. The BBC estimates the real figure could exceed 100,000, far higher than the numbers released by Russian authorities. Among the confirmed dead are hundreds of conscripts. Some deceased are former Russian prisoners and foreign volunteers. This indicates a shift in the war, which is no longer a special military operation, with conscripts, prisoners, and volunteers in the regular Russian forces. The BBC reports that 18% of the confirmed dead were prisoners, 13% volunteers, and 12% conscripts. The investigation confirmed the deaths of 3,300 Russian officers, with the ratio of dead soldiers to officers about 30-1. On June 2, 2023, during a Cultural Heritage Development Symposium, General Secretary Xi Jinping clearly stated, "The Chinese nation is a peace-loving nation, and the Chinese people are peace-loving people." This official rhetoric raises questions about whether it signifies a normalization of China's stance or a reflection of a daily schizophrenia. China firmly positions itself as part of the Sino-Russian axis, not only through its mercenaries, but also through extensive military, political, and trade assistance, opposing the Democratic Alliance. While China officially claims to maintain neutrality on the Ukraine war, the reality is different. Besides Chinese individuals serving as Russian propaganda-driven mercenaries, China has politically and diplomatically supported Russia. More importantly, the deepening trade relations between China and Russia have become Russia's lifeline against Western economic sanctions. Chinese customs data show that trade between the two countries reached a peak of $240 billion in 2023. Unlike Iran and North Korea, there's no evidence yet that China is directly supplying lethal weapons to Russia. However, increasing evidence suggests that China is providing critical support to Russia in the Ukraine war through other means. A U.S. intelligence report released on Friday indicated that China has significantly increased sales of machine tools, microelectronics, and other technologies to Russia. Moscow uses these technologies to produce missiles, tanks, planes, and other weapons for the war in Ukraine. According to a summary by Voice of America, China provides Russia with resources for the Russia-Ukraine battlefield, including geospatial intelligence, 5G satellite cooperation, excavators and bulldozers, drones, Chinese-made products with significant military applications, tank and aircraft parts, heavy trucks, tractor chips, and integrated circuits. Additionally, in March last year, the American news website Politico reported that in the second half of 2022, Chinese companies shipped 1,000 assault rifles and other items that could be used for military purposes, including drone parts and bulletproof vests, to Russian clients via Turkey and the United Arab Emirates. Unbeknownst to many, the world has quietly designated China as the next target. Today's Russia could be tomorrow's China. On June 16th, the Ukraine Peace Conference in Switzerland concluded, with participation from 93 countries and the signing of a communique by 80 countries. Whether the conference made progress or not, it is clear that the vision of Ukrainian peace has become a consensus among democratic nations. However, China not only abstained, but there was also evidence-based allegations that it prevented some countries from participating in the conference. In reality, the true significance of the Ukraine Peace Summit lies in the announcement of a new global bipolar Cold War structure, where the Sino-Russian axis confronts the Democratic Alliance. This marks an inevitable conflict, foretelling that China will become the next Russia. The emerging Thucydides trap between these two blocs is evident. Thucydides trap is a term coined by American political scientist Graham Allison to describe the likelihood of conflict between a rising power and an established power. Various signs suggest that even if the Russian-Ukraine war ends, global peace will not be restored. Xi Jinping is poised to become Putin's successor, positioning China as the next belligerent Russia. Unlike economically collapsing Russia, China possesses the capability to disrupt the global market, such as flooding it with low-cost electric vehicles. If Russia's actions result in a single conflict in Ukraine, China's actions could trigger a comprehensive world war, a disaster that the world, including China, cannot afford. Since the 1979 Vietnam War, China's military has not experienced combat. Alexander Neal, a senior fellow at the International Institute for Strategic Studies, analyzes that Taiwan will pose a much greater logistical challenge than Ukraine.